Tony Ferguson's 12-fight winning streak was against a bunch of nobodies. Let's be real, guys. The only 3 legitimate, good wins on there are against Anthony Pettis, Edson Barboza, and RDA. The rest of them are a bunch of nobodies. Come on. He didn't look too good against Donald Cerrone. And then when he went up to the upper echelon of the division, Gaethje beat his ass. You want to know what the combined record of all of his 12-fight winning streak of Killer Row guys? You know what their combined record is after losing to Tony Ferguson? 34-49. That's not good, bro. That's not even including the 12 losses that Tony gave them. Bro, that would have been a 34-61. That's almost a 2-to-1 losing ratio. And we're calling those guys the killers. Tony Ferguson, the guy to beat Khabib. Let's be real, guys. Khabib would have destroyed him. There was no chance. And who really beat him? Nate Diaz? Mr. Soy Boy Nate Diaz himself? Come on, guys. Let's stop acting like Tony Ferguson was the boogeyman of the division. Everybody was so scared of him. He wasn't all that. He was good. Let's keep it real. I'm not completely disrespecting him. He was good. He was top 5. But he was definitely not going to be a champion. Who did he beat? Kevin Lee, the man who has a gas tank for 3.5 minutes and he's out? That's nothing. Now, don't get me wrong. I think if he fought Khabib instead of Gaethje that time, it would have been a 49-45 probably for Khabib. But I think Khabib would have at least had a couple scratches, a couple cuts on him, but no one else has ever done that to him. So, I mean, shit, then Tony must really be the man if he would have cut Khabib a couple of times with a couple elbows. I just don't believe he was all that, to be honest. You put him up with Gaethje, Gaethje beat his ass for almost 25 minutes straight. You put him up against Beneil Dariush, Beneil Dariush dominated him. Put Oliveira in there, Oliveira dominated him as well. And look what happened now when Oliveira fought Beneil. Oliveira just destroyed him in 1 round. Let's be real, guys. Tony, he was a top 5. That's at best. He was never going to be an actual champion. Never going to be a real champion. And I don't understand why people defend him so much. Oh, poor Tony. Don't do this to Tony. Don't do that to Tony. Bro, you guys act like Tony was like a saint. Tony was kind of a piece of shit. Let's be real. He was beating his wife back in the day. He's like John Jones basically back then. And then now recently, he gets a DUI and we just gonna throw it under the rug. Oh, it's old Tony. He's had his CTE. Nah, man, I don't forgive that shit. When he was in the middle of his run of his 12-fight winning streak, yeah, he looked unstoppable pretty much. Tony, the toughest man out there. And he really, really was a tough man. But I think any top 5 fighter can really beat on these low-level fighters. RDA is the only one I really, really give him credit for. RDA, that's when RDA was basically still in his prime. That was good RDA, not RDA of today. Edson Barboza, that was prime Edson Barboza. That's a legit good victory. But the rest of them, they're kind of a bunch of no-names. Lando Venata. Who's Lando Venata, bro? Who did he beat? He ain't beat nobody. And he lost to Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson must be the GOAT for real. We all know if he got in there with Dustin Poirier would have beat his ass. What is Tony going to do to Dustin Poirier? Nothing. And now he's partnered up to fight Bobby Green. Bobby Green. Come on. If he loses to Bobby Green, all right. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Tony's like 40. He's an old man. Shell of himself, completely washed up. I think if this was Tony before the Gaethje fight, he would have beat Bobby's ass. But now, you just got to hang it up, man. But I'm kind of getting distracted a little bit. We got to talk about that 12-fight winning streak, which was overrated. Come on. I know I'm about to get a lot of shit for this in the comment section, but out of all 12 of those guys, who is really good that Tony beat? Except for RDA, Prime Edson Barboza, and who else? Anthony Pettis? Sure, Anthony Pettis. Still pretty good. Good win. But the other 9, they're all nobodies. Kevin Lee has no gas tank. Abel Trujillo, he ain't gonna beat nobody. He's never beat anybody good. So I think Tony's 12-fight winning streak is a little overrated, to be honest. I think most guys can get a 12-fight winning streak when they get a bunch of low-level fighters that pretty one-dimensional. So I don't know, man. I think it's pretty overrated, to be honest. Now I get it. When apparently everyone's scared of you, you kind of just take whoever you're gonna get matched up with. But we can't act like he was on God mode out there, to be honest. It was a 12-fight winning streak. Very impressive. Most of these guys were ranked at the time, but none of them are really top 5 or championship caliber. You know, if you look at Charles Oliveira, he doesn't have the best ones until his title fight, right? Either, to be honest. When he beat Tony, okay, it looked like such a good win at the time, but it doesn't really look too good now. But at least Charles Oliveira beat Tony and kept winning. Won, 3 fights after that. Michael Chandler, he beat Dustin Poirier, and then Justin Gaethje. Lost to Islam, and then goes and dominates. Well, maybe not dominates, but he goes and knocks out Beneil Dariush in the first round. See, that's a legit championship fighter right there. And he proved it. When it came to the upper echelon of the division, he actually proved that he is the best in the division at the time. Tony, he fought a bunch of, top 10, not even top 5 guys. And then when he came up, finally he gets a top 5 guy in Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje pummeled him. And I know Tony was on that long win streak. We're talking about Khabib got canceled like 5 times. He kept claiming Khabib this, Khabib was scared of me this, Khabib this, Khabib did that. But let's be real, guys. We all know what was going to happen. Tony was going to have a little bit of success on the bottom, but in reality, Khabib was just going to dominate him the whole entire fight. And he probably would have 50-45 to him, or maybe 49-45. I think he probably would have got a 10-8 round at least at some point in there. Let's say maybe Tony gets round 1. Maybe since he was a little bit fresh, round 3, let's say. But that's all I'm giving him, really. I don't think Tony was ever going to be championship material. He's just too unorthodox. He's too weird, throwing sand at people. Bro, that's not giving you points. It's not winning on the judges' scorecards. That's not doing damage to these guys. And I know that every single one of his fighters, they always came out bloody and beaten looking, but Tony doesn't really show too much of that blood and stuff like that, unless he's fighting Nate Diaz, of course, Mr. Soy Boy himself. Apparently, those pillow hands just break right through Tony's old grandma-looking skull. But yeah, I'm done hating on the boy. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to keep making some more content. I'll probably make a couple tier lists pretty soon, so stay tuned, guys.